What's up, YouTube? It's been a while since we've actually done any kind of an update on the property. We've been doing it. The stuff that we got done, I'm really happy that we got done. We've got a fence around the garden. We have a little garden going thanks to our friend Bobby with Buy Comfrey. She's an amazing person. She gave me a bunch of free tomato plants and started some squash plants for me and some zucchini plants for me, and she gave me a bunch of starts. She's given Stuart a bunch of berry bushes, raspberries and blackberries, I think. I might have that wrong. But anyway, so we have all that going. Stuart also created, I'm going to walk you around and show you everything, so I won't go through everything that we've done so far, so I can just show you. But we've had an actual stream of bad luck. Mr. Murphy has not been nice to us at all. A few weeks ago, our propane fridge went down. It wasn't cooling anymore, and we were like, oh no, you know, propane fridges are not cheap. So Stuart did some research, and one of the options is to burp it. Didn't actually think that you'd have to burp a refrigerator. What do? Put it up on your shoulder and burp it? I don't know. Anyway, no, it's not that at all. Anyway, you turn it up on its side, or I think on its head is what you want to do. Alright, so he actually read about taking all the parts out of the back of the refrigerator and cleaning all the little orifices of any kind of dust particles, and just giving it a thorough cleaning back there with all the little tiny pipes and stuff, connections that are back there. So he ended up doing that, taking it apart and put it back together, and we hooked up the propane again and lit the pilot light. We got a little bit of footage of that, but I didn't actually do a whole video on it. Didn't want to bore you with footage on exactly how we did it. But anyway, as soon as he lit the pilot light, he knew immediately it was gonna, the pilot light itself actually was brighter and bigger. So we were like, okay, cool, that's a good sign. So we have an outdoor thermometer thing for temperature, and so he put that in the refrigerator, and we closed it up and let it sit for a few hours, and the temperature was going down, and within, I don't know, 24 hours it's running colder now than it ever has, and we never had to actually burp it. It was just cleaning the pipes and stuff in the back. So we had that happen. I lost my job. They set me up through a temp agency in order to work in Idaho, with them being based in Nevada. So they were paying quite a bit higher than a normal employee, and it was supposed to be, you know, for a couple years, so we were just a couple months shy of it being 2 years of me working from home for them. But so me, I'm like, okay, that's fine. Trying to get my virtual assistant business going, so this might be a plus that I can actually spend more time in marketing myself and getting my website finished. So me losing my job, it is what it is. We'll work something out. So that happened, and then our generator went down, and it just didn't go down. It wasn't something that Stuart could easily fix or fix at all. It blew a piston or something out the side of the engine. Oh, of all the things you expect to happen with your generator to go down, I never would have expected that. And this generator it's only, what, I think 3 years old. I mean, we bought it right before we decided to move off grid, before we left Nevada. And it was a Duramax dual fuel, and it had the plug for Stuart to use for the welding. So, and that's one of the reasons why he really wanted a generator like this, was so that way he could weld. So that happened. We had the other generator that the previous owner left on the property. It's already gone down a couple times. Stuart's got that one back up running. You can probably hear it in the background right now. It still has an issue with it, but he's trying to pinpoint exactly what it is. So hopefully it doesn't go down on us again. And then we had a friend, Jeremy and Emily. They live just on the other side of the ridge from us. Super nice people. He contacted us and he came up and helped Stuart get this other generator going, and also brought us a generator that they're not using right now, so that way if this one goes down we have a backup. So we'll probably end up buying a small cheap generator somewhere just to keep the freezer running. That's our main concern, is keeping the freezer running, because we feed our dogs raw, so we don't want all that going bad. All right, so that being said, let's take you on a little tour. All right, so first I wanted to show you our little flower garden. We've got one sunflower that has bloomed. Actually, it's a black oilseed sunflower. And then here is another sunflower, but definitely not bloomed yet. And I couldn't tell you what all these other flowers are. I think this one here is a black-eyed Susan. If I remember correctly, I had those planted in Fallon, so I'm pretty sure that's what those are. Hairy vetch all over the place. Hairy vetch is great soil amendment. This is hairy vetch, and it's really pretty. And the bumblebees love the hairy vetch. And so he just kind of, when he planted all these seeds, just threw them all right around here. So all the little flowers are growing up around these big rocks that are placed here. It's actually really, really pretty. You look out the window and you see the little flower garden and butterflies. It's awesome to see all the butterflies. And then we'll take a walk down here and hopefully we'll find some honeybees or bumblebees, because they're just going crazy. There's another little sunflower. That's new. That wasn't here the other day. Yeah, it's pretty cool. He did hairy vetch all over the side of this is our parking area right up here that goes right up to the cabin. And it was nothing but rock and soil after it was all excavated. So he planted some more little wildflowers, and it's a mix of like beneficial insect, so it attracts the butterflies and the bumblebees. He planted some native grasses, and then all the hairy vetch forever. But it's so good for your soil. And this is our hose here leading down to the garden, gravity fed. It's actually worked out really well, and this summer has been a wet summer. It hasn't been real hot at all. We've only had to water a handful of times. So, in fact, it just poured yesterday. You can see that the ground is still wet. All right, so let me show you our garden fence. This is actually really cool. We are trying to live and do things as frugal as possible. So the fencing, here's the garden. The fencing we brought from Fallon. The T-posts were from Fallon. And the only thing that we bought for this are I forget what they're called. I forget the name brand of them, but these little things here to create your corner braces. It's a corner brace. I was excited when we were able to find them and excited to use them, but not really impressed. It works. Maybe if our ground was more solid, it would have worked better. But this area down here is stays pretty moist, which is why we picked this spot for the garden. So we put that up, and then Stuart took all the leftover cedar branches that we had and started off by putting them up vertically like this, and then put these across each one of those to make it higher so the deer can't jump over, and we haven't had any problems with any deer getting up. He put 3 on this side here because you can see the deer would actually have running. They'd be able to run and might be able to clear that if he wouldn't have put that 3rd one up there. And then he used a cattle panel to create an arch for me going into the garden. I've always wanted an arch on my garden. And then we're lining that. It's not complete yet. We're lining that with some more cedar branches. And from here down, we'll put them vertical, so that way we can kind of hide the cattle panel a little bit more, and also maybe try to hide that T-post. But it's worked out really well. We're not done with it, and this is our gate. And it's just mainly to keep the deer out and the dogs out so they don't trample all over the plants. And that's worked out good, but the chickens have found the garden, so we got to figure something out to keep them out. They've only gone in there once, so we keep an eye out and make sure they don't come in here. All right, so let's see what we got going on. With all the hairy vetch and grasses that are growing around, it almost looks like this fence has been here forever. And we'll actually expand it out past where that rock is and incorporate the rock as part of the garden. So we just started off with this size for now because I knew I wouldn't be able to get that much going yet. My seeds inside really struggled trying to start them in the cabin. The windows aren't set up properly for them to get enough sun, so I really struggled with that, which is why Bobby, our friend, gave us a bunch of plants. But look at this. Look at that. So pleased. I think these, where's my little tags? These are, those are summer squash. Hopefully all the tags stayed in the ground. So we got the summer squash. They're looking amazing. They have done so well. Oh, where's my other tags at? So we keep all the grasses and stuff around because it helps protect the ground, help keep it wet. And Stuart will chop down the hairy vetch. There was a lot more in here, but he'll chop down the hairy vetch, and what you want to do is chop and drop, which is all this right here, because this is going to decompose, and it's good for the soil, it's good for the garden. Plus, it helps to shade the ground so the ground doesn't dry out as quick. And it's worked out really well. So we were keeping more up on top of it when the plants were a lot smaller, because we don't want that hairy vetch and grasses and stuff to shade them. They need their sun. But now, I mean, you can see how big they are. They're doing really well. And he's got comfrey here. And that's put on a lot of growth in the past week. This little one here is still struggling, but it still has potential. But it's getting there. More about comfrey when we go back and visit Bobby. She's the expert on the comfrey. And of course, Stuart is too. We have some asparagus. I think we have like 5 or 6 plants of asparagus. And of course, that's going to take a couple years. This is a berry bush right here. More asparagus. This is cucumber that Stuart planted. We might be able to get a little harvest out of it. It might have been too late, but there's no harm in trying, right? And then the tomatoes are looking great. So we put up this cattle panel. I actually wanted to use wire, but we didn't have the wire. And so we're using the cattle panel this year, and next year the garden will be laid out a little bit different, I think, but at least we got it going. But these bigger tomatoes are all the ones that our friend Bobby gave us. And she gave us varieties of tomatoes that I've never even heard of before, so I had to Google some of them. Look at this. That one has been kind of eaten by something, but we're getting tomatoes. It's very exciting. Some bell pepper plants. They've been really slow growing. They've put on quite a bit of growth the past couple weeks. Not sure if we're going to get much of a harvest out of them at all, but that's okay. It's a work in progress. Next year the garden will be better. What are you doing? Just sitting up there watching me? So this is what Stuart is calling the meadow. It was all bare dirt after it was excavated, and it goes all the way up past our little woodshed here. Goes all the way past that, and he planted mustard, some field peas, Australian peas, the hairy vetch, you can see that in there, some native grasses, and it's all to amend that soil. And also the deer love it. They come out here and they like the mustard. The mustard is those yellow flowers. Hopefully you can see them. Oh, here's one right here. But they're all over in there. And the deer love it. They like to hang out in this area here, and they munch, and up in there. We have a couple doe that'll come in, and once in a while they'll lay down in our little meadow and eat what's in front of them. It's really cool. So that was done. Come on, Goose. Goose. Come on. Come on, Goose. The next thing that we've been up to is firewood. We have the little portable garage thing right there that we've used the past couple winters, and that's working really well, but it's kind of far away from the cabin, so it makes it hard. I mean, yeah, we've been shoveling the snow to get up and down there, and we used the sled to get firewood and stuff, but we wanted it closer to the cabin and easier to come out and get our firewood and stock up in the cabin. So Stuart made this. We're hoping it doesn't tip over, but so far it hasn't. We'll see what happens when it starts snowing. We're gonna put a tarp over the top, but it's great. I mean, it's right next to the cabin pretty much, and he's gonna build some more, and he's probably not gonna build them as high. He's thinking that might be a problem with this one, because it might be a little too high. So he's gonna build the next ones not as high, and then we'll have firewood right next to the cabin. I think it's cool. It looks like a fence. I like it. So Goose says, please give us a thumbs up, like, and comment. Until next time, thank you for watching.